Hey guys, today is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020, 6:49 p.m. The market has closed. Let's take a look at the market right now. So I'm a little bit concerned about the market right now. You can see that um, if you look at the market right now, we are very low volatility mode. So you can see that 8 hours volatility is extremely tiny in all time frames. If you look at daily, hourly, 1 hour, the volatility is just very tiny, and it seems that this could be some sort of distribution like that, and we could have a major move that's coming up in the market because we couldn't really hold this trend line, can we? We didn't, and now we are kind of moving like that. Well, right now we're not on any lines, to be honest. We have this kind of low volatility move, and now it just kind of broke down a little bit at a close. And this kind of move like that, it just historically speaking could be very bearish because when you have very low volatility days like that, you can see that um, you get a couple of times like that, and eventually we have some high volatility moves that's following up these kind of environment. And but the thing is, sometimes like this, it was fine, right? It just had some volatility, but then kept moving. I wouldn't be selling my stocks for sure at these points. Again, the market is very bullish. Apple has come to market cap $2 trillion now. And this pretty much was holding up the stock market because right now this is a 20, 10%, 5% of S&P 500. Is a I don't even know what portion this is, and this could go on for a while until a major break that's going to come up. So I think distribution could come in for a little bit longer. I'm expecting something like that, flattening out a little bit, then break down to have a correction on the larger time frame. And I wouldn't be too worried about the intermediate kind of volatility if we do experience some. And I would be more concerned once we get into October and November when it's election period. Although historically speaking, election doesn't really matter that much in the stock market, but it could bring some sort of volatility during October. So I'm still holding on to my long positions for stocks, and I'm not changing any at the moment. And the key is holding valuable companies. The key is holding, a company that makes money, right? So we're talking about Apple. We're talking about. I don't have Apple myself, but I have things like some of the education stocks have a little bit of Tesla still, and I wish I still have Neo, but I sold it back when it was like $5. Now it's 14. So and also the Zoom. I have Zoom. Okay. What else? I suppose Zoom. Okay, fine. So all these ones are just consolidating at a higher level, and we might get some correction on these primary driver of the market, but I think we should be fine in the medium term. Okay, and so let's take again for the stock market right now. There's just no bargain I could find. Recently, I purchased a little bit of this called Canine. Canine is because right now, ironically, the only value you can find in the market is the majority of it is in the some of the education stocks, which I have a little bit, and also, I mean, this one, which is a semiconductor stock, but this is actually a Bitcoin mining equipment maker. They make the Bitcoin mining chips, and they are the second largest in the world for making Bitcoin mining equipment. And because I expect the Bitcoin to continue to go up, just slowly, it's very slow, but it's going to continue to go up. And so it's going to benefit the stock probably sooner or later. And now this stock is actually being bought by a bunch of institutions. If you look at the institutions' holdings of this particular stock, and there are actually all the institutions right now they're buying this stock, and the price is I think it's being artificially suppressed. And this is probably a very safe place to buy, given how small the market cap is. This company is only $267 million in terms of market capitalization. So it's very easy for a potential whale to come in and pump this in, 10, 20 times to $20 to $15. It's very easy to pump this particular company to $2 billion. And again, when it was IPO, it was actually valued at 6 times of the current valuation. So if this stock goes even lower to like $1 or something, I'll buy even more. Right now, I just have a little bit of position. I just initialized around 196, 195, 196 today, and I had a little bit previously at 195. I'm not adding right now, but I hope this thing might go down a little bit more. I'll buy more. Okay. This is just riding on the cryptocurrency wave, and I think the cryptocurrency are still quite undervalued compared to the majority of the market. Right, the majority of the market are fully valued or even overvalued. Most companies, and most companies with a story they can tell, that people can talk about are being fully priced. And I think the only thing that's left is the cryptocurrency still being suppressed compared to the 2017, even the early 2017 level. It is down from that. So I am looking at Ethereum, Bitcoin as these major players. They're undervalued, and in the short term, I think Ethereum and Bitcoin. So anyway, so let's take a look at the cryptocurrency right now. Okay, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it tried to break that 1200 mark again, failed again, came down. This is really frustrating, to be honest. I did not expect this to be that difficult for Bitcoin that is trying to go through the 1200, keep failing, and I think it might come down and retest this level of 10,000 again. I don't know. But this is pretty frustrating. And I thought this could be much smooth and just keep going to the 1900 by the end of September, October-ish. But it seems that it hasn't. Ethereum today, similar story. Ethereum is not bullish anymore. This pattern is not bullish anymore. This market action is not bullish anymore. The reason is we have to be very cautious here. We have a 80% move in only a month, right? That's a huge move in a month. And keep in mind, Ethereum, a lot of players have leverage, so we're talking about a 2 times return for a lot of players in this market. And so for a bullish case scenario, I'm looking at is that previously I thought if this particular one broke through the 400 and it keeps zooming upward without consolidation, like that. If we have a price action which keeps zooming up, then that is bullish. But we have a consolidation right after it zoomed over to the 400 level. Right? Right after it zoomed above to 445, it tried to reach that level twice, and now it got rejected, and then we came down pretty hard to the 400 level. And today, obviously, there are a lot of resistance here, and anybody can tell, any amateur can tell, by just looking at a chart, where a lot of buying here, and we had a resistance. Of course, we have some reaction to the resistance. It briefly penetrated below the 400 level, and now is kind of maintained, stayed above it. But historically speaking, if you've been trading in a market for a long time, you know that what's going to happen is this level is not going to hold. Usually, when this thing happens, a brief, brief kind of a upwards move, penetrate a key level, came down. Usually, this level does not hold. Usually, it's going to go down to an even lower level, which what I'm watching right now would be something here. So I think the price is going to reach here, just maybe tomorrow or the day after. And once we get here, there are two scenarios that we have to really consider. One is came down here, come up, retest the 400 level, that becomes resistance, and it completely fails, then it just crashing down. That's one of the very bearish scenario where we have a major correction in the Ethereum that is going to retest the 227, or maybe it doesn't go that far, but I'm looking at maybe potentially a 30% correction from the top. So maybe it's going to go to this level. So I'm going to remove that. So it could be going to this level, retest this particular level of 317, where there's a lot of buyers here. And the other scenario would be, and that is going to coincide with this particular trend line. Okay. So we might get to here, have a retest. So I don't know, like it could be this trend line or whatever. Like it could be going to the 320 or 310. I don't know what's going to happen. That's one possibility. A 30% or even a 29% correction, 30% correction roughly. That would be a very bearish scenario. Another scenario would be it came down, come up, maybe come above this line again, retest, and we keep going up. That would be a kind of bullish scenario. And I don't know if this is gonna happen. It might happen. It has to happen before in some stock I've traded before, but we'll see, right? We have to see the reaction. Once it comes down, we test this level and come up again. Yeah, so this is actually not a very bullish sign. Just in summary, this is not a very bullish sign. I have actually taken a little bit profit at 420-ish yesterday, and I forgot to make a video because I was just watching the market. I was expecting this to be much stronger move to the upside. Maybe we're going to reach this 500 or something, 600 level. But it seems that we couldn't. And I had to take a little bit profit off, and so I can buy it back at a lower level. And now, so far, it hasn't worked. It hasn't bought back. I haven't bought back yet, but if it goes down even lower at 362, 340, whatever, I'll buy back, right? Make some, so I can accumulate more Ethereum in my portfolio. And yeah, so the price action right now, I wouldn't say is bullish again. And yeah, we'll see. And if we do have this kind of correction, that would be a pretty major correction. That would be pretty painful if someone bought here. And just by looking at the reason I got pretty cautious is because I was looking at the margin rate. The margin rate for borrowing the USDT, it just keeps increasing every day. It seems a lot of people are highly leveraged in this market. Like the USDT borrowing rate on Binance is 30%. That's 10 times the borrowing rate of actual US dollar, right? It doesn't even make any sense. And so a lot of people are borrowing very heavily in this market. I suspect there are a lot of the leverage buying here, and now we came down, so a lot of people got trapped here. And if we come down harder, and a lot of people got trapped here, and if we come down even more, I think people are going to be wiped out. Who bought here and here, they could be wiped out if they have a 3-time or 4-time leverage. And another thing is that if we do have a 40% correction, I think that's going to wipe out most of the people who got here 40% correction. And I wouldn't say that's impossible. It's a possibility in this market, in Ethereum. You can see that the correction usually comes in a very hard way, right? If you look at these ones, you can see that it's hard. If you look at those ones, they're pretty drastic. I mean, if we have a correction, it would take quite a lot from the top, like 48%. You can see that one. This one is probably higher, at 66% correction. And after it's that's a 700% move, so it doesn't really apply here. But this one is 100% move, 183% move. But you could have a crazy amount of correction. And look at this, even in a kind of bullish uptrend, the fall could be very drastic, right? Just to shake people out. For example, this one is a similar move of 79%, 80%. I want you guys to take notice of these. We have a 79% move, just like that. This is a 79% move. See that? And it came down. It made it consolidated. It went up. It came up, but it didn't go that far. It dipped down from the support, came up again, and then made a 40% dip right after that. So that is potentially a scenario that has happened in the past, and it could happen this time as well. And then it's gonna take off, right, for 500 to 1,500. So if you got wiped out here because you have too much leverage at these points, that's too bad. Right? That's why you don't want to have more than 1.5 times or 2-time leverage. Because these kind of corrections are 40%. They are pretty common even in a straight up bull market for Ethereum. Okay? And that's all I want to talk about today, and hope you guys enjoyed the video.